So out of all your films, out of the 100 plus, what's your favorite?
Okay, favorite movie of all time, or
Well, how about your personal collection?
in my
What is the gem in your
the
collection?
gem in my collection is probably The Magic Box, which was a biopic about William Friesgreen, who is reputed to be the founder of motion pictures. There's some debate going on. Did Edison do it first, or Friesgreen was a Brit who in this film is portrayed by Robert Donat, who was the star of Hitchcock's 39 Steps, and Laurence Olivier has a beautiful cameo as a London bobby who is taken up into the projection booth when Friesgreen perfects the formula, so to speak, and has taken footage of people milling around in Hyde Park and wants somebody to show this footage to that he has just developed. So he collars this cop played by Laurence Olivier. It's just one of my favorite scenes in any movie of any kind, because it really captures the sense of wonder between the creator, the exhibitor, and his enthusiasm about presenting and showing off what he has discovered. And then the flip side of the coin, the spectator who has never had any kind of exposure to this wonderful new medium and is being thrown right in the middle of it. And both actors just have this chemistry that I haven't seen duplicated anywhere before or since in movies for that one scene that they share.
And to have the cameo by one of the greatest actors of his generation.
Right, and there's Peter Ustinov has a bit part. It's just like a who's who of British character favorites showing up, coming and going in that movie. So as to what is my favorite of all in my collection, of what I actually palpably have on 16, Magic Box, 1951. Of all time, 5 Million Years to Earth, as I mentioned to you before the cameras are rolling.
Yeah.
Also, no, the British title, the original British title is Quatermass and the Pit, based on a series of stories written by a writer, brilliant writer named of speculative fiction, the most prophetic one I've come across, Nigel Neal. And I would recommend, I know there's a lot of Doctor Who fans out there, but not so many Nigel Neal / rocket scientist Bernard Quatermass fans. So I highly recommend to Doctor Who fans to check out the Quatermass series that was on BBC TV first and then was featurized by Hammer Film Productions of England.
And what was it about that film that?
Oh, that particular film is just like, I'm using it in my film course, Religion on the big screen, the Senior Scholars Program. It's really it's the nightcap, it's the shank of the evening, so to speak, because it's basically, it rewrites the ghost story, rewrites the detective thriller. Like two other films released that year, Planet of the Apes and 2001: A Space Odyssey, it challenges the conventional Judeo-Christian creation story. And it's just, it really kind of bites off a little bit more than it can chew, but for spreading itself so thin amongst all these different objectives that it has, it does quite well for itself. And it's just, the premise is that a strange object has been found in a new London subway excavation, and what is it exactly? And you know, it's not from Earth, I'll say that much about it. And it just goes from there with incredible plot complications that just spill out all over the place and just grab me like no other film does.
And you mentioned the class. You not only have movie screenings, you also teach a class.
Yeah, well, I have taught film on and off since in 1986 through the Clinton Community College's inmate higher education program, which is now sadly defunct. I began teaching film, English 139, Art of the Film, in Dannemora Correctional Facility and also Altona Correctional Facility. And I mean, talk about a captive audience. I mean, and very, very rewarding. I thought it was highly, highly fulfilling work because I had undivided attention, and the general homework assignment was to write reviews of the films that we had seen in class. And there was one incredible student who would have an ace review completed by the time the film was over. And I cannot claim that for anything that I ever wrote for the Press Republican during the, let's see, I started in 1985 and ended in 1999. The first film was David Lean's Passage to India, And the last film I reviewed was The Blair Witch Project in 1999.
So how many years altogether were you the
14,
film critic at the
14
Press
years at the Press Republican, yeah. But some amazing creative writing was going on in this class that I taught between Altona and Dannemora Correctional Facilities. And I just never was able, to this day I can't get my head around how this one student was able to write incredibly, with a great deal of flourish and just not a hair out of place. It was like the first draft was the perfect last draft too, and I don't know how he pulled it off, but I wanted to keep in touch with him, but I lost touch with this particular inmate / student, and like I definitely was the student in that class as far as my interaction with him. I may have technically been the instructor, but I had a lot to learn from the way that he put his reviews together.
Certainly an unusual setting. What was that like teaching?
Well, it was taught in the library section of each facility, and yeah, and they had their AV. Clinton Community College had already established an AV closet up there, so I just, in that case, I didn't have to bring my own projectors. They were already there. See, between the Newman Center and Malone's Pouring Light Studios, or wherever I have shown films outside of the inmate higher education program, it would be all about schlepping all of my own equipment from one place to another.
Right.
So it was nice to be able to not have to do that when I was teaching the class in the inmate higher education.
Everything was already there waiting for you.
Everything was already there. I just had to bring the films in. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That was surprising though for you to get there and have with the inmates to find out how engaged they were.
Yes, it exploded my expectations. I had some apprehension. I'd never toured a correctional facility. I'd never gone. I mean, driving by the big wall up to the spring to get spring water, but up the hill. But I had never actually been inside those walls before. So, but my apprehension was quickly pacified once I was in the middle of it all and finding myself very at ease among them. And they were there. It was a privilege for them to be in that class and watching movies and writing about them. And they really, by and large, everybody, I got that vibe of appreciation. It was unwavering. And so I actually consider it the best paid employment I've ever had. And I'm sorry that I can't, that I'm not able to do that anymore. But
it was eliminated. The program eliminated.
Well, the funding was cut when Pataki came in '95. The funding was cut for it, so that was the end of that.